Are you one of those bakers that cannot get even layers? Then this video is definitely for you. Stick around. Welcome back to my channel, guys. Please kindly subscribe, like, and share. Okay, so to get even layers, one of the major points that I'm going to give to you is weigh your batter. Invest in a measuring digital scale. Okay, once you have finished mixing your batter, whatever batter it is, if it's chocolate cake, vanilla cake, red velvet, coconut, whatever cake it is, okay, measure your batter. What do I mean is, if collectively, okay, let's say you're baking, your batter is 1,000, let's say 1,000, okay, and you're baking into 2 different pans, automatically you need to weigh 500 grams each to have even layers. Okay, I say that again. If your batter in totality is 1,000 grams, you need to do 500 here, and you need to do 500 in the other pan to get equal layers. That is where your digital scale comes in. You put your pan empty. Your pan has to be empty. Of course, the only thing on your pan would be the parchment paper, which virtually doesn't weigh anything. So your pan has to be empty, and make sure that you set your scale to 0. Okay, sometimes people make that mistake. By the time you've put the batter in, you realize, oh my god, it wasn't at 0. No, that's wrong. So make sure that your digital scale is set at 0. So once you put that empty pan in, that is the point you begin to weigh. Okay, so this is me also teaching you how to weigh, right, in case you don't know. So yeah, you pour that butter in, and then once you have 500 there, you put it outside, you take the next pan, you pour that butter in, and then you have 5. With that, I can assure you, okay, that you're gonna have even, smooth, clean layers. So the next point I'm going to give to you is bake at a good temperature, or rather bake at the appropriate temperature. Okay, a lot of recipes would tell you, okay, bake at 175 degrees centigrade, Celsius, sorry. Is it Celsius or centigrade? I'm sorry, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Okay. Yeah, so some recipes would call for that, okay, and some other recipes would say, okay, bake it at 325 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so try to stick to what the recipe says. Don't do higher. One thing with higher is you tend to bake boom, and it goes boom, or it gets burnt. You don't want that. We want it to slowly bake. Mostly there's some cakes that you just need low temperature. Cakes like red velvet, you need to pamper it. I don't know if you've watched, I have a video that I put up on best secrets to get a red velvet cake. If you haven't watched it, kindly go to watch it. At the end of this video, I'm definitely gonna put it there so you see it. Okay, so cakes like that need slower temperature and lower temperature rather to bake nicely. So make sure that it's baking at the appropriate temperature, so that when it rises slowly, it rises nicely. And when it rises nicely, what happens? You get a fluffy cake with that. You don't have a dense cake, because that's what happens when it's just it gets burnt. It's definitely going to be dense. So we want it rises slowly. So try to stick to the oven temperature. If you do not have, if your oven is the one that you cannot really tell, some ovens that are conventional, some are gas oven, just different, please invest in an oven thermometer, so with that you're sure that, okay, I'm going to be baking at the right temperature. Okay, so after you do the other things that I've spoken about, the other tips I've given to you, and you still finish baking and the cake comes out and it's probably uneven, you find that one is higher than the other one, you have different possibilities. Like I said, most especially if you're using a gas oven, I have noticed that there's some gas ovens that have a hotter spot than the other. Yeah, so what I like to advise in that situation is mid baking, while you're baking, and in that middle time, you can open the oven and look. I said middle time, I didn't say the beginning. If you do the beginning, your cake is gonna not bake properly, it's gonna sink in. You don't want that. So try to turn the baking pan. Just see where my hand is going. Turn it. In that way, we're trying to spread temperature. We're trying to spread the heat around the cake. Okay, but like I said, okay, if you bring the cake out of the oven and you still find out that with all the up and down is still not leveled properly, trim your cake. Just trim the cake. Trim that cake. You must trim your cake, that's for sure. You must trim your cake. Okay, get a leveler, get a leveler, get a serrated knife, okay, and just trim it. You're not gonna have to do too much here, so just a little bit, okay. With that, you're going to have gotten it to the level that you desire. If your layers depends on the layers, some people would want just 1 inch in height, because they want 1 inch and they want the beautiful filling, they want another inch. So whatever level you're going for, okay, for your cakes, cut it and trim it to that size, okay, or wait for that size. All right, the last point that I'm going to give to you is avoid overfilling your pans. You're working with an 8 by 2 inch pan, okay. automatically you should fill your pan to half of it. So to give time for it to rise, it needs the space. You see, you know, baking is science. You need the space for it to rise. If you fill your baking pan to the brim, where do you want it to rise to? What support is it going to have? Let me tell you what's going to happen when you overfill your cake pan. It's going to rise, and then it's going to begin to drip by the sides. And when it drips by the sides, it's going to sink in. That's a disaster. Trust me, you don't want it. Because when it sinks in, okay, when the cake comes out of the oven, you're going to have a cake with a terrible texture. It's almost going to be chewy. That's number one. Number two, you're going to have a dense cake. Definitely not what you want. If you have that, please just toss it. Don't even dash people. It's not, don't just toss it aside and rebake. Okay, rebake. So that's one thing that you don't want to do. Overfilling your baking pan. Don't do that. If you cannot work with your eyes, you know, you cannot use eye level to know, okay, it is measure, always measure. Put that prepared pan there, okay, and say, okay, this pan is comfortable enough to take 250 grams of butter, and then put it at that and measure. Look, it's better for the cake to rise up and you still have some space that needs to go up to the brim and drip and pour. You don't want that, guys. So guys, hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I hope you did learn a lot. Please don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share, and don't forget to like. I'm doing this for you all. Thank you so much. See you in my next video. Bye.